local journalism is a building block of society. We have already a huge impact of AI on our daily work. And the huge and the fast advance of AI also poses challenges for the roles of humans in news business. And I have a development of 3 stages where we see how we can and must evolve the roles of humans. The first one is the human in the loop. The second is the human on the loop. And the third is the human autonomy teaming. And I will deep dive into this just after a little introduction of who we are. Ippen Media is a local publishing group. We have all over Germany various outlets, and we built a platform, a publishing platform that is open to third parties. With this platform developed over the past 12 to 14 years, we reach over half of the German population monthly. And you can see there's a whole width of small to medium to even a large site here, the Münchner Merkur in Munich located. And this is what we do. We build a network. We built a network of local publishers distributing all the information within this network, because local stuff is sometimes interesting way beyond the local sphere. With all these partners, we do have many journalists on site, and we have on the other side national reach. That means all the stuff we produce has interest way beyond the local sphere. And that is our strength as a platform. We create national visibility, national reach, but we are locally rooted. We have the people on the ground in all those areas. And this is the way we try to enrich and grow this network for the future of local journalism. So let's see how we need to evolve our people, our journalists. The human in the loop, that's today's standard. Everybody is working on this little request-response pattern. Everybody uses AI tools for translation, co-pilots, assistants. And that's a pretty basic way of working today, enriched with some workflow layers at top. Some simple example would be here our newsletter production. Alexandra Grauvogel is a competitive athlete, and she has the domain knowledge. She talks to our systems and explains the next newsletter, and then some sophisticated workflows generate the newsletter itself, generate supporting articles, social media posts, and even subscription advertising. So her job gets way faster, way easier, and we can scale that for all topics we need to serve and we want to serve. So that's a pretty standard way of working today that's applied everywhere. The next stage is more or less the human on the loop. What does that mean? Autonomous systems, mostly autonomous systems, are just supervised by humans. So the human just steps in if errors or risks occur, and he orchestrates it. AI becomes kind of orchestrated or supervised co-worker. And this is also an important evolutionary step in applying AI in our sphere. One example is elections. We built an agent that coverages all of the election result reporting. That means for the last federal election, we collected all result data, had historical data, and additional information. And the agent decided for each and every single community with the results how and what to create as an article for the audience within this community. And this is fully automatic. Within an hour, we were able to push out 1,000 articles in the domains, in the areas where we have our brands located. And this is repeating now. North Rhine-Westphalia, next weekend, 1,049 communities with result data, and we will produce that with just 2 people overseeing the whole process. That's scale, and that is repeatable. And that gives us some return. It also frees the journalists from this kind of work, gives them the opportunity to do more interviews, more investigation, and create more other content, other articles next to the result articles. So that is nice, and it's a big advance how to utilize agentic-driven or agents and agentic workflows. But that's not where we had to. Human autonomy teaming is what we ultimately, in the near future, must achieve. What does that mean? Human and machine are equals. The machine and the human have roles, and they form a team. So we can really distribute all the work, all the jobs towards the machine partner or the human partner. And the human itself gives context, credibility, and connection to the people, to the local people. The machine puts speed, reach, and always-on capability to the whole thing. And together, that's a team forming that's happening. And I have 2 examples how we try to utilize this. The first one is local event radar. The role of the AI is to scan the web, to discover new sources, to research and to inform the human what's going on, what's happening, what's noteworthy. And the human in his role decides what to use where, for the paper, for the online, for other networks. So the AI acts as a radar operator and the human as a navigator. Together they are a team that can cover the local event sphere completely with less effort for the human at all. And the second example would be hyperlocal reporting. There's so much to report on press releases from local clubs, from local sports, and so on. Stuff that needs to be there. If the machine is enabled to be autonomous and to do the must-do work, we can free up the journalists on site to do the investigation and the interviews and create more value-added content. So by enabling the teams to really work together and share the workload to create the whole product, we have the real advance. This gives us the opportunity to have small teams really cover every town, every community in a depth and width that we cannot achieve if we were all human, and which we cannot achieve if we just use tools to enhance the work of the single human. We need this combination, we need these virtual teams to really be able to scale out. And why do we need to scale out? Journalism and local journalism is very important because democracy is really failing where there is no local journalism. We see that in the news deserts all around the world. In the US, political bias is really going off the charts if there is no local journalism. And that is our mission, to provide an open platform with the tools, with the AI support to local news outlets to be able to maintain a sustainable, profitable, future-proof local journalism and this is the way how we plan and how we utilize AI in our daily work to really keep local journalism alive. Thank you. Ellie, your turn.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Now, I was here a couple months ago in January and I announced on the DLD stage a strategic partnership that we have with Black Forest Labs, and I would like to give you a quick update on that. Let me just say, this partnership, it really exceeded all of our expectations by far. Not only did we publish our first ever fully AI-assisted comic magazine this past week, so it's on the newsstand right now, and we've also since then published a case study together with Black Forest Labs, where we're talking about how we are revolutionizing the way that comics are created today. In this very first instance already, we have saved 50% of time in the entire comic creation process. And now that we've established the process, we're expecting that it'll save us about 70% of the entire time it takes. Now, I'd like to show you a little bit about what we ran into and how we went about it. Basically, there are 3 different parts to that. The first is to generate the story. The second is to generate the images. And the third is to kind of link the two, right? To combine both the story and the images. Let's start with the story generation. If you take a straight-up LLM without the use of agents and without the use of agentic workflows, you will run into a number of different challenges. And I'd like to show you what those were and how you can address them with agents. The first thing, this, by the way, is LissiPony. This is what was published last week. So the first one that you will run into is called what's called as the setup payoff technique in storytelling. And basically what the model will do if you do not use agents is it will randomly come up with objects that are not introduced into the storyline logically. An example for that is, for example, our characters, they're on a treasure hunt, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a treasure map will appear that will give them the solution. So the payoff is there, but it's not been set up correctly, and which is very unsatisfying. It's a very unsatisfying way to tell a story to the reader. And agents help you to address that problem. The second thing that we ran into is the appropriate character selection and the abilities. Each of our different characters has a certain set of abilities. Like one's able to fly, for example, another one is able to do certain magic spells. Now, if you just use a model without agents, one of 3 things can happen that you do not really want. One is it might select a pony with an ability that is not appropriate to the solution. The second is it might actually mix up different abilities and come up with new matches between pony and ability. Or the third one, which is what we see right here, is it will come up with completely new abilities that are not part of the entire story plot, depending on how your settings in the creative settings are. One example here, this is Miko. His special ability is that he can actually grow crystals, and all of a sudden he develops laser eyes. The third thing that we came into, or the third challenge, is that you do not have enough variance in the story plots. So if you just use an LLM without agents, it will tend to be a little bit repetitive and therefore boring. So agents help you address that problem also. Now that we basically have the story generation, let's move on to image generation. If we just start out with this prompt, create LissiPony, a unicorn with a crown and pink wings walking through the Black Forest. Then DALL-E will give you this example. Stability AI gave us this. And Flux. Granted, it's really neat, right? This Pegasus unicorn looks good, but none of them are LissiPony. So basically, what we did with a fine-tuning API, Flux's fine-tuning API, allows us to train the model with our specific IP. And it also gives you consistent results. Now, all of these guys here are LissiPony's friends. but look at their facial expressions. And this is not generated, this is actually from the comic. They're all the same. By training the model, we were able to actually get a much larger variance in their facial expressions, therefore actually making the comic better than what it originally would have been. This here is called Crown Island. It's one of the central locations in the Lissy Pony world. But it doesn't come up that much, meaning we don't have that much data on it. Now, even if you use not enough training data, even with a fine-tuned model, this is what you get, and obviously that's not going to work, right? I mean, you can't publish this. So the way that we went about it is that we first created 3D renders of that image, then translated it into depth graphs, and then actually used those to train the model. And now we're able to actually generate that location from all different kinds of angles and use it repetitively. The last step is the combination of the comic script and the images. And so in the first step, what we actually do is we use AI to generate the script, as we've seen. Then basically an AI agent helps us to translate that script into an exact briefing of what we're going to use then with the image generator. And as a last step, we're using that briefing to iteratively generate the different images and set up the different comic panels. The individual little pieces that you see, they're called comic panels, and that's how you actually set it up. And as I said, we're expecting 70% of savings in this. Now, I give you this is actually the flashiest case that I could have shown you, but it's obviously by far not the only one. A lot of them are more like bread and butter cases, like let's take the horoscope generation or the translation document chat. A lot of it, what you actually said, there's a lot of things that we're employing, and they're not that neat to talk about, but they're really what matters because they make a difference in terms of your business processes. And so all of those, our approach at Berta is to combine all those into one AI enterprise platform called Assist. Assist has been around for about 2.5 years. We developed it in-house, and now about 2,500 of our employees are using it at the moment already, and it's constantly evolving. Let me show you. So welcome to Assist, but what exactly is it? Basically what it is a middleware that sits in between the different AI providers, the different tools, be it text or image or any model basically that you can connect with an API, and our very own infrastructure, our CMSs, any kind of databases that you might have in-house. It's secure and it's enterprise ready, which is one of the big advantages that we have if you look at it from a corporate perspective, which we are. It's very, like, you don't really want to develop a shadow ID, or at least we didn't want to do that, where you have single accounts across the entire organization that you can't really control. What this does, it gives you, it's hosted in the European Union. It's GDPR conform, which is also very important if you're a little bit of a bigger company. And it's very flexible. You can connect any kind of different tools that you would like through API. You can connect them in the background through agents, so you can connect the different capabilities of the different tools with each other. And you're not really locked into any one specific vendor. And of course, it's very simple to use. That was super important to us, to get a big uptake in our organization and actually people that are wanting to use it. So it's like you don't have to be a prompt engineer or an AI expert to actually use it and get use out of it. And it's all connected in one platform. We have decided to actually open this up to the public, which you can imagine. We've announced this only about a month ago, so it's still in the very early stages, but I'm super excited to announce that just yesterday, We're going to enter a new strategic partnership with Assist, with 11 Labs. We've just announced that yesterday. So Assist is actually going to be, thank you, Steffi. It's actually going to be elevated to the next level. So if you'd like to know more about it, please get in touch. There's a landing page which is brand new and has just been set up for today. So please take a picture and come get in touch. Thank you.
No, that's all right. I mean, amazing insights what we just learned and also got shown by you. Let's make them a bit more tangible. Because Ili, you just showed us how you also, through your collaboration with Black Forest, you solved like technical challenges that you had. But with Assist, you have a platform where you are dependent on also the user adoption and like the usage of itself. So what were your 3 main challenges that you had in bringing like the platform or introducing it to the users, and how did you turn it into like their main tool?
I think that, well, it kind of evolved over time, I have to admit. I mean, it wasn't like we started out and it was as big as it is now. But I think the key differentiator that we had in the beginning is we really approached it from a business process perspective. You need to know your workflows, and you need to understand how what kind of your processes you can really automate, or where it can really help with AI. So that's like the first thing. Then I think you really need to have teams that are willing to kind of be like the test bunny, basically, that are really eager and open and want to explore. And then also, I think the things that we're working on, it was super important that straight in the beginning, it wasn't just a showcase, but a use case that would really benefit the people that are working with it. So in the beginning, it was just like, work with the people that like it and that are excited about it. And then it kind of like happened. It was like, okay, well, they're using it. Now let me try to do that too. And it kind of like, now it's kind of like people, it's just like something that they like doing now. It's not so much you have to do it anymore. In the beginning, it's more encouragement in the beginning.
All right.
Yeah.
And Jan, like with your approaches, you showcased us how like humans and AI can work together as equals, which I do think is super fascinating if you look into like the wide range of collaboration platforms that you have across Germany. But I also think that it's like a process that will continuously evolve, right? How have you like approached the implementation of it, and what challenges did you maybe also turn into business opportunities for you?
Well, the implementation starts with experimenting. I mean, we, as you guys, built our own platforms, our AI studio, where we could build the workflows, where we could manage the agents, and you have to just try. And the interesting thing is, where can you save the most work? And that is in our environment pretty obvious. The must-dos need to be automated as hell, because the shift from print to digital is also a shift in cost relations. And we need to be more efficient. We need to have a better product so that we can really advance local journalism into the future. And on the technological side, I would love to emphasize it because that's my natural habitat. There's a lot we rebuild on our infrastructure to really be able to pull this off and create an environment where the machine ultimately can really be a role in the newsroom.
So both of you, and like you emphasizing the infrastructural point, are dependent on the trust that your readers, like, and also the users, give into the output that is created through your platforms. How do you think AI incorporates or like infiltrates really the trust that, or the trusted relationship that is brought to your output, and that might also be impacted by it? Ili, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think most of you probably know, like, BERTA is fairly broad, so we make a very clear distinction between what is a fictional output and a non-fictional output. The majority of our, intended adult magazines, that sounds kind of odd, but like, magazines for an adult audience are non-fictional, and so the brands that we have, it's very important to just, like, basically the trust that you have in the brands that we have is something that it's basically the one thing that you have that you do not want to play with. We need to retain, we need to protect it. It's something that that's basically the value that we have, right? That's going to make this brand attractive even in whatever future it is. And so that is something that we obviously, all we do is we always will protect that brand. And so it's got to, obviously, what we're doing, it's got to be accurate, and that's why a human always has to be responsible. Journalists will always have to be responsible for what they're actually writing. And so that's like, we don't do the crazy, like, let's just let the AI go crazy about content. We do that a little bit in our kids' part, obviously with people checking, but it's a very different use case. And
so we're already out of time, but there's one pressing question that I still have and wanted to ask you, Jan, because it's always difficult to look into the future, but I still want to do, since we're with DLD today. And there's so much talk around the future of media, really, and also the impact that the organizations will have. And so, Jan, if you look into the future of media production overall, but in the relevance of the organization itself as well, do you think there is still relevance of the media organizations in the future? And if so, what role will they play?
I absolutely believe there's a place and a future for media organizations, in that way that in the end you need credibility, you need trust. And that is the thing that is interhuman. And if we can save that, if we can evolve that for the future with the support of AI, then we will definitely see a bright future.
What a great end to a very fascinating panel. Thank you so much, both.
Thank you.
Thank you.